Hello and welcome to our roundtable discussion for celebration of International Women's Days. Today I'm here with my colleagues to share, learn and inspire with our diverse stories. My name is Sara Abbasi and I'm the moderator of this session. So what's bringing us all together is B-PHOT. B-PHOT is a research community which has more than 35 experience, not only in research, also in education and innovation in field of photonics. I'm so proud to say that B-PHOT is an international and gender-balanced community which hosting 20 expertise from different fields, from biology to engineering, and from more than 20 countries. So let me start from Spain. We have Pablo here, and we would like to know about your career path and what are you doing in B-PHOT.
Okay, so thank you, Sara. So indeed, I'm Pablo, Marin-Palomo, and I come from Spain. Currently, I'm a postdoctoral researcher in B-PHOT. And well, my path towards B-PHOT has been started in Spain, where I did my bachelor's in physics at the University of Barcelona. And then I moved to Germany, where I did my master's in photonics, and I also obtained a PhD. And after the completion of the PhD, I can say that I was lucky to end up here, thanks to a professor that welcomed me to his group. And I've been already almost 3 years here, so quite happy to be here.
Yeah, we are also happy to have you here in B-PHOT. So let's go for the other part of the world. We have a representative from Colombia, Alejandra.
Yeah, my name is Alejandra Gomez. I'm from Colombia. I'm a first-year master's student, and I did my bachelor's in engineering physics in Medellin, in the National University of Colombia. And I'm also very happy to be here. I'm now in my second semester, and for now, everything has been really good.
Perfect. So let's get back to Belgium. We have Jürgen in our group. Yes.
Thank you, Sara. I'm Jürgen van Erps. I'm a professor here at B-PHOT. I actually studied here at VUB, so I did my master's here and also my PhD. I graduated from the PhD in 2008, and then I spent some time as a postdoc in Australia, Sydney, Australia. And then I came back here, where I'm now a professor and working mainly in the field of freeform optics and optical interconnects.
Yes, indeed. And we have another girl from Colombia, Natalia.
Hello, Sara and everyone. Yes, I am Natalia Gutierrez. I am from Medellin. I did my bachelor in also physics engineering, as Alejandra did, but in EAFIT University. I did also there my master's in applied physics, and right now I'm doing my PhD. And it's a curious fact. For example, my PhD group is only by women. So I'm working with Professor Heidi Ottevare, also with Professor Wendy Mullebrook, and now Professor Yongfeng Ni in SPR. So it's a very interesting project.
Yes, indeed. Woman power, yeah?
Yeah.
Indeed. And we have Ben, master students, yes?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm Ben Gellaerts. I'm also from Belgium, and I'm a second year master student at B-PHOT. I started here with my bachelor at the VUB also, but in physics. And then later I transitioned to master in photonics because I found it more fun, to be honest. Oh. And now I'm doing my thesis with Pablo regarding excitability in multi-wavelength lasers.
That's really interesting. So getting back to what Natalia said, that she is working with 3 women in photonics. That's really interesting. So that brings a question to my mind to ask Jürgen that, can you share a time that you working with a woman that brings you another additional value to your project?
Well, sure. I think, we as you said, we are gender balanced here at B-PHOT, so I think it's certainly a positive aspect of the research group. I think we're probably the only group in VUB that has a gender balance. And it's always good to have different viewpoints, different perspectives, not only in diversity in gender, but also diversity from background, different nationalities. It only enriches the group, I think. So there's many advantages of having this diverse background, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Not only diverse background can help us a lot. For instance, in my group we have a biologist people, and I'm also working in the biological application in my field, and I found it sometimes it's quite challenging to working with cells, with blood, with hemoglobin, with proteins and stuff without knowing any background. And it's really nice that we have a lot of biologists here. If we have facing any problem with handling the sample or different condition, and we have someone there to give us a hand. That's quite nice. And getting back from the woman that's working in photonics, maybe Pablo, you can help us. What do you think? Do you think that women might have a different perspective in solving the problems or working within the group? What do you think about the power of the woman in a project?
I mean, indeed, as already Professor Jürgen mentioned, that the fact that we have this gender balance definitely has an impact. When it comes to problem solving, I see it already. In particular, I'm glad to share the office with three very competent women, postdoctoral and now even Professor Lin. And indeed, the discussions are very powerful to try to come to these different perspectives to solve a problem. So we do spend time during the week to discuss our project, to try to find better solutions, and I'm very happy to see these different perspectives indeed.
Yeah, indeed. That's really nice to have some women nearby always for the other perspective that they might have. I read somewhere that women are pay more attention to details. So if they are doing some research, they kind of wants to do it kind of perfect. They want to redo it several times. Mm-hmm. They go for the details, but men have other perspective towards the research. What do you think, Alejandra?
I think I agree. Obviously, you will have exceptions with that, but I would say in general, when I work with my classmates or when I'm in a group, obviously every person dependent of their gender will share a different perspective. But when it comes to men and women, it's really interesting to see that, sometimes when you're trying to develop a project, sometimes women, or speaking for myself, I guess, you try to be a little bit more perfectionist. But then my teammate that is a male might be a little more relaxed. So I guess it's a very nice balance, because it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's just that both of them contribute in a balancing way. So then you have a very nice end result in your project, because you have different work methods and different ways to tackle a problem.
Of course. I can see that in the European project that we have. I guess Natalia working in European project, I also do, and you're also involved in the European project. We can see that there is always a gender balance, and I'm so proud of this. I can see that this attitude is going towards Europe. If you want to compare from the past up to now, I guess the number of the women that are involved in those projects are increasing, kinda. What do you think, Natalia, in your project Marie Curie that you are working on, or how is the gender balance?
It's a very good point, Sara, actually, because in my network we are 14 PhDs, and actually it's a very slight difference. There are almost equal balance, and I'm really happy actually to see that there is, regardless of the gender, there is a very nice outcome results in the general consortium. Mm-hmm. So this makes me allows me to conclude, so to say, that even regardless of gender, I would say there is equal capabilities for achieving very nice research output results, and even if there was also some collaborative works between us that led to even better, combinations of individual results led to even better and enhanced results for microplastics. So I think there is also, as Alejandra said, like this a combination of abilities, also with the backgrounds and diversity. So I think there are many aspects. We can say that women have very nice capabilities for research, that they contribute from a different perspective, but also that we also can achieve very nice results by ourselves and propose very good ideas for research. I think also this is because of we have been able to have nice preparation and also access to equal education.
Yeah, that's true. And I know that from your project that there are different countries that involves. And also from our side, we have Mehrdad from Iran, you are from Colombia. I guess this diversity also helpful because we have a different background, we have a different education, different field. That's might helpful a lot. What do you think, Ben, about this? Like, I guess in your master program also is the case. You have a different student from different country. How do you like it? You like it as a Belgian, and what do you think about it? Do you have like exchanging culture, not only culture, also science? What do you think about it?
Well, I really like that it's so diverse because, well, simply you learn much more about the world in general and about other cultures, and it's just very nice. It was honestly very surprising for me the first day I arrived at school that maybe like only 5 or 4 people out of the 17 are from Belgium, and it's surprising, but it was like a very fun surprise, and it's definitely enriches the atmosphere, or how else you would say it.
Yeah, indeed. And I love the fact that we have like a mixture of the people and like exchanging the culture. I really like it. You know, beside the work, sometimes we change culture and also food. That is like, yeah, it's something else, you know? And I really like that part. So let's get back to Jürgen. I have a really general question for you. What is your observation about the gender balance in world? I mean, in the scientific world.
Well, I fully agree with what you just said. I think diversity is very rich, but I tend to not like too much to look at it from diversity in gender, because you were mentioning that some girls may have different capabilities than men, but I tend to disagree to some extent that you have the exceptions in both cases and that everybody should be capable of doing the same things. So I'm glad that people are trying to get more and more gender balance in all these activities like EU projects that you mentioned and so on. I'm fully in favor of that. But of course, there's also some drawbacks in always trying to get gender balance, in the sense that in general, and so coming back to your question, I think in the scientific field it's still the case that there's much more men involved than women overall, unfortunately. And that also means that if you aim for gender balance in some cases, like in commissions and so on, you have a smaller pool of women than the pool of men. So if you're a woman in science, you will typically be asked quite a lot to do these kind of jobs, just to make sure that there is a gender balance or something close to a gender balance. So it puts a bit of extra pressure on women as well, which shouldn't be there in the first place. But I certainly agree that diversity brings a lot of different ideas, and that it's more like the difference in background and so on brings much more diversity than just the fact of whether it's a man or a woman that is actually part of the research team. That's my opinion on that. I'm only in favor of getting closer and closer to a gender balance. I'm sure that there's still a long way to go in order to make sure that, for example, if you look at engineering, there's already a limited amount of people starting in engineering in Belgium, so we should definitely engage more youngsters in going towards a field in science and engineering. That's for one. But secondly, the share of women in the student population and in the later population in science is still only a fraction of the total. So we are a very exceptional group in the sense that we have a gender balance. So there's still a long way to go there, and I can only say that it's always a struggle to try to engage youngsters towards science and engineering, and that's even harder for women. For some reason, it's still a kind of an association that it's not typically something that would be for girls, but I wouldn't see why, honestly speaking, because I have many examples of women researchers that are as capable, if not more capable, than men. So I'm certainly in favor of pushing that further.
Of course. Yeah, as you mentioned that unfortunately there's a stereotype that the engineering or STEAM are more like male dominated, and like people who are male go for that, and the girls doesn't have that potential to go towards this direction. That would be really nice if we can promote young generation, I mean the girls maybe mainly, to go through this path. What do you think, Alejandra, about how we can promote this?
Yeah, something really interesting comes to my mind, and is that when I was doing my bachelor, we were talking about this issue, and we saw like this TED Talk of a very interesting woman in the United States, where she was stating that during her first years as an engineer, and she struggled a lot, and she was the only woman in a classroom full of men, and she struggled in stuff sort of like technical design, mechanics, and all of this. So she started to wonder why was her struggle so evident with respect to the men in the class. And in the end, obviously there's a lot of theories, but one strong one is that in your upbringing, usually the girls, like culturally, usually the girls are mostly motivated to use, let's say, dolls and these types of games, where men and the boys are motivated to use these building blocks and all of these types of games that you don't think about it, but it actually helps a lot to develop these kinds of abilities. So like I guess the conclusion of this story is that when she realized that, and after she graduates, she promoted like this company that made toys for little girls, but were about solving puzzles, constructing blocks, and all of this stuff with all of the elements that maybe little girls like to. But with this added element, it's not only about dressing up the doll, it's also about like problem solving in between the games. So I think that's something like to think about, because some sides are like so rooted culturally that you don't think about it, and that's you then see the consequences in STEM, where you see this huge disparities in gender.
Yeah, that's true. I saw that you are nodding. Pablo, do you have any additional thing to add to what Alejandro said?
I definitely I agree that the culture is very important, because it's what, since you're a child, what will motivate you to pursue maybe a STEM field or not. So I totally agree, and I've seen it in when I grow up. I think I consider it to be a place of a bit liberal, in the sense of not establishment. You need to teach it in this way if you're a kid or a girl. And I've seen growing up my classmates. They all, so we already started with a gender balance class, but I've seen this freedom of choosing your path, and how along the years already, when we need to be ready for the university, I can tell you that at the end we were maybe 80% girls and just 20% boys. So you could see that there was less of established path that you need to follow. And I basically can say I grew up in a town where most of my classmates that went to university and study STEM fields were mostly women.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one in my classmate that maybe one more. Yeah. So I grew up in this. So I agree.
That's really great, indeed. So there's a question that pops up in my mind for Jürgen. So you are teaching bachelor students, also master students. Have you ever had a students that he or she accident, or because of the culture that he had, because of the like he's come from another country, or he's or she's a woman, because of those limitations she couldn't or he couldn't choose the right field, What I mean is that, okay, you know that, so this guy has a capability to do that, like go for the engineering, but I don't know why he didn't do that.
Well, I guess that I'm already on the other side of the barrier, in the sense that the students that I see have already chosen to go into that direction. So yeah, we have done over the years many efforts to try to engage youngsters into science and engineering, and we have had even European projects with developing a photonics kit, the Photonics Explorer. We have IEST as a company that is dedicated to do that, where we develop things to give to teachers in high schools to engage towards experiments in photonics and get them to learn the term photonics, because you see that in many cases everybody knows what electronics is, but if you talk about photonics you still have to explain what is it exactly that you do. And yeah, there you also see that you actually have to go back in time quite a lot. So even if you target like the last years of high school, it's probably already too late, because in that phase people have already taken a certain direction. So you really have to act on the very young age, and I think indeed it does a lot if you have like young kids. I mean, my kids are 3, my twins are 3 years old, and if they want to play with a doll, I will not stop them. So yeah, I mean, it's really, the earlier you can engage them into science, the more they will maybe be tempted to go into that direction without having to force them into that direction. I'm not going to force my kids to go into an engineering path, but yeah, if you're doing that on a stage of the last years of high school or university, and then the choice is already made. So in that case, yeah, I cannot say that I have encountered situations where I would see that somebody is not has done something below his or her capabilities. That's probably the case.
That's really true. So we should take his steps from the very beginning.
I think so.
Yeah, and if I can add, thinking about the outreach and these activities that chapters like the B-PHOT student chapter here does, they're super important. And like for my experience in Colombia, we also have a student chapter there. And when you went to these schools, when you taught little kids, boys and girls, about photonics, about optics, and you showed them real life experiments, it's really nice to see not only the interest in general in doing these activities, the scientific activities, but also like when you see a little girl and like the representation, they see somebody like us. I also had a couple of girls also accompanying me to do these activities, and they see that other girls are doing science. That really impacts, and it has a really positive impact, especially when they're super young, to see that women can also do STEM.
Of course. That's a really good point.
I also wanted to add to what Jürgen said, that there is a very nice team of women here in B-PHOT participating in the development of these kids,
Yes.
with Ast and also Tine, and also the new Sara, yes.
Indeed.
So it's very interesting, and I think in this point you can really see how diverse point of view contribute, because they have like their engineering science experience and research experience and preparation, but they also have this other point of view of how to make things better for kids, for example, so how to bring them to this better, like to this level of understanding, such that they learn. And well, I don't say this is exclusive of women, but I think this is a nice ability that they have.
Indeed. I also participate in some of the tour that our STEM group had in one of the school. I remember that the kids was quite amazed by how lights work, what is photonics, and you can see that okay, it's nice. It's the exact moment that they have to learn about photonics and so on. And I guess this is the first step that we have to make. We have to leave.
In a few minutes.
Okay, I have a question for Ben. So maybe you can tell us the story. What happened that you choose this path? What happened that you choose engineering?
Well, simply, or like simply put, I would first say I got tired of physics. That's the easy answer. Like theoretical was nothing for me, and experimental part no. So it's and then I saw like the option like, oh, you can do photonics. And like I started reading about it, and just in general it seems way more fun, and I started doing more courses, and I don't know, I just had more fun like in the first years of my bachelor, and that's why I continued with this.
Oh, that's nice. So you did it by yourself. No one inspired you or something.
Well, I did talk with I got in contact with Heidi first, and she like explained everything like, oh, it's common before, you can do it like, and that definitely helped me push to get more into photonics in general, or like at least give me the idea that it's possible.
Yeah, of course. I have another question for all of you. What do you think how role model can be important for choosing a career?
Very, I think. You already said it, Alejandra. I think if the youngsters see role models, women role models, it's only
It's a big thing,
increasing the chances of girls being inspired, I think.
For instance, once Hugo told me that you should be a good role model for a woman, and I was like, how can I be a really good role model? As like a small part of a community of the science. And then I came back home and I thought that okay, I have 2 nephews and 1 niece, and they're quite small, and they don't know much about photonics. Maybe I should start from my home, no? So that's the thing that I'm still doing it, and sometimes buy some stuff, send it back to Iran for them to start learning it. And I guess that's really a small step, but can be effective. Yeah. So, Alejandra, do you have any role model? I mean, can you say the name maybe?
Well, I guess the easy answer is my mom, but yeah, of course, in the scientific community, there are lots of I think it's recently, this couple of years, there have been more physics Nobel Prizes for women than ever before. So that's really inspiring. Donna Strickland is also a very inspiring person. She's also a physics engineer. So I really, when I started to have interest in physics in my high school, I looked up what was engineering physics. I saw her name. I saw what she worked on, and it was really inspiring. Also, probably some of you have seen this movie, Hidden Figures. These 3 girls in NASA that work when was the space race and all of this, and they're 3 women. They are African American women, and it's so beautiful to see their story. And yeah, all of these stories obviously inspire me a lot.
Yes, indeed. So talking about the Nobel Prize, I saw a graph in Google that the number of the female Nobel Prize from 2004 to 23 increased from 4 to 35, and you can see the big difference over the year. And I have a last question for Jürgen, because I have to say goodbye to Jürgen because of the other
apologies.
responsibility. No worries. I want to know that how do you manage to have a work-life balance?
Easy question.
That's a tough one to end with. I think it's not so easy to do that. Having 2 young kids running around all the time, it's they kind of force you also to give them attention. So that helps in finding the balance, I would say. It's also important to try to enjoy the other aspects of life. But there are certainly times where deadlines and so on don't allow you to spend as much time in your free time as you want. But okay, that's the name of the game, and there is a very, very much nice aspects to being a scientist. There's also the administration that comes with it, and trying to get projects funded and so on. So there's a lot of insecurities as well to some extent. The nice thing is that we are engaged in so many nice different applications and try to build a better world ultimately for everybody. So
Also for your kids.
and also for the kids, indeed.
That's really interesting.
So I don't know if that's an answer to your
Yes,
question,
of
but at least
course.
partially. So unfortunately, I will have to leave, but please continue the interesting
Thank you
discussion.
so much
Thank
for
you so
accepting
much.
our invitation.
You're welcome.
See you next
See you. Bye-bye.
Yes, Sarah, I wanted to add to this role model question because I didn't particularly have a role model, and I think my case goes with what Pablo said, that in my growing process, I was let free to choose and to explore. So I think I had like a quite particular background in the sense that my parents were very open to let me explore whichever topic I wanted, rather than giving me specific toys or giving me specific information. And I also I grew up in a school where it was feminine school that was also motivated towards women development. So I think the key factor, for example, in my case, was not to have one specific role model, but to have like constant guidance in the environment to explore what is available for me to learn and which skills I can develop, and also to let me be free to choose the path that I wanted to choose.
That's really important indeed. Do you want to talk about your role model? I don't want to miss anyone.
It's fine for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say my case, like the one that comes to mind is probably my math teacher from high school, because, well, I know she just explained math in like a fun way, and then like gets you more interesting to actually get into something science, because, well, you have to use math eventually, like everywhere, and making it interesting is just very fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the very, very first role model that you had.
Well, no, it was more in my later years of high
Okay.
school. I would say the very first one would still be my mom. So.
Of course, that's true. Okay, Pablo, do you want to add anything about your role model?
I don't think I would have a fixed role model, but I do pay attention what people around me do, and I realize they are doing it better than I do, or they have skills that I was unaware of. And I would say that day to day I continuously have role models. I can give the example of my office mates, how, for instance, they are all female office mates, and one person, for instance, is really good at networking, at achieving, getting accepted for the conferences or attracting nice researchers, and this skill is really good, and by having the chance to share the office with just this person, I'm able to understand how it works, and she helps me even to improve myself. So I would say that for me, day to day, I'm continuously in contact with role models.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really nice, because you're trying to be a better person, better professionalist, better and better, so you have a better different role model, of course. It's not okay. So anyway, so let's go for the next question. It would be nice if we have Lynn here, because she has 2 kids and she has a woman in science, and I had a really special question for her, because I guess it would be really difficult to have a work-life balance, especially for a woman. Yeah, I moved to a new house with my boyfriend, so it had been like 2 years, so I had some responsibility. So when I get back home, and I always like, okay, maybe I should do this, and clean home, I should cook, maybe I should do that. But in some point I have a lot of things to do as a PhD student, and this balance is always killing me. And once I discussed with Heidi, and let me say that Heidi is my role model, and she told me, no, maybe you should do that, maybe you should that, yeah, and prioritize your work, and have a to-do list and so on. So it's still a challenge for me, but I'm learning every month. Yeah. So Alejandra, can you tell me if you had any challenge as a woman in engineering, in science?
I can say, fortunately, no. I did see gender imbalance in my bachelor, especially if you looked at the professors. Like I only had 2 female professors, which was actually really nice coming here because I've had more female professors here than I ever had in Colombia. So I guess that really wasn't good representation wise, but I had an experience with professors saying any bad comment about my abilities as a woman, and I think that's really good. And in general, I think, and also what was earlier discussed is that it's very important to have in mind gender balance and diversity, but you can't get it to the point where it's always in your head. And I've heard sometimes comments of friends when they're saying, oh, I have to be good because I'm the only woman in this class. And I'm like, sure, you have to be good in general, but you can't put all of that pressure just because you're representing your gender. You shouldn't think of it like that. You should think of it, there are 10 people in this class, everybody has equal capabilities. Some might have strength in other stuff than with respect to others, but it shouldn't come to the point of pressuring that. And I think in my experience that was good because I never thought myself of, even if I was the only girl in a class, I never thought, oh, I'm the only girl here. We were all just studying together. We have to do good.
It's all about capability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? That's totally true. So for me, the story was a bit different because I'm coming from the Middle East, and all the stereotypes are even more harsh there. So for me, when I wanted to choose physics as my bachelor, so it was a bit challenging because in home we had the kind of discussion that, are you sure maybe you should go for biological stuff or something else, because you're a girl. Girls always do other stuff, not science, not engineering. So it was a kind of negotiation even in my home, in my family. But thanks God they are much more open-minded. I'm so happy for that. Another thing that was a bit of concern for me, in Iran, being a physicist means that you couldn't accept for engineering. You couldn't accept the entrance exam for engineering. That's why you went for the lower field. That's a really, really, I can say, awful stereotype that we have. And still, if you have a high ranking, you have to go for engineering. If your ranking is not good, you can go for the science, physics, biology and stuff. That I didn't like it, but I was really into physics, and I went for it, and I'm quite happy for that. But when I was almost graduating for my bachelor, I remember that my father said, "Can you find job with physics in Iran?" And that's a question that's really true. I cannot find a job in my country. But and it was the reason that I tried to immigrate, to learn more, because I kind of feel like I'm kind of saturated in Iran in the research group that I had. I should move, I should learn more, I should be surrounded with the other people with the other perspective, and was the reason that I immigrate. Do you want to add something?
No, I'm just saying that I was thinking that I didn't have that, thankfully, in my home. But I did have the constant question of, oh, what does a physics engineer do? What are you going to do? There's no field for this and all of this. So in general, and that's why outreach is important in general, the knowledge of science and all of that, it's not so much. And also in Colombia, it's difficult to find jobs in these fields.
Yeah, indeed. What about you in Spain? Is it difficult for finding a job as an engineer?
Well, as engineer, not
or
fully.
physicist?
As a physicist, I think there is the same idea that as a physicist you would have only very limited opportunities, maybe staying in academia. Otherwise, you need to expand a bit your knowledge and maybe go towards engineer positions, right? Using your knowledge, or otherwise, it's a bit difficult to find a job. So I had the same impression.
Okay, perfect. So I have a last question for all of you. So maybe we can start from Ben. What is the best piece of advice that you received, or you want to give it to the next person?
That's a hard question to suddenly come up with.
Maybe I can go for
Yeah,
it.
can I be the second one?
It should be like women related.
Oh no, whatever.
Advice.
Just advice.
Well, advice. I mean, I would say, okay, there are two branches from the personal point of view, not now engineer related. Not to take things personal. Everyone has its own personality, its own way to interact with the world. They are not constantly thinking on you or me, how I feel. So I shouldn't take personal things that other people may say about me. And that can be applied also in engineering. So I did my PhD in Germany. Of course, the culture there is different. They may be a bit more direct, telling you things, right? And more pragmatic, maybe, to compared to where I was raised, where we tried to say things maybe a bit more happy, more nice. And for me, that was fine. So in the moment that I learned that, okay, I shouldn't take things personal, but yes, take it a bit more nice, then I like that.
Yeah, indeed, I totally agree with that, because I was a bit struggling with that fact that, oh, maybe that person doesn't like me. That was the reason that she said this sentence in that meeting, and it makes me like overthinking over hours, and it didn't work for hours.
Yeah.
So I feel that that's totally correct. Don't overthink, don't take it personal, and everyone has a different perspective. Yeah. What about you?
Very difficult question, but once somebody said to me, and before coming here, actually, like, enjoy this journey, obviously, because I'm very far away from my home. Enjoy this journey, but remember that life is the most important journey. So it's like related to the work-life balance you were talking about earlier, that yeah, studying, I really like studying, I like photonics, I like physics, but it's important to be happy yourself, and that will naturally give you better outcomes in your professional, personal, everything life. Yeah.
My also advice that I received was that said, yeah, be happy.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Mhm.
Yeah, enjoy the journey that you are dealing with,
Mhm.
and be happy. It's really important. And the other advice that I received, I already mentioned it, that yeah, Hugo once told me, be a good role model.
Yeah.
And it means, yeah, I thought a lot about it. What does it mean? And then I told you I started from my nephews and my
Mhm.
things. So
Yeah.
let's start with it, why not? Okay, if you have any other thing that you would like to share?
Yeah, I was thinking a bit about like the advice you said. I think it's one came from my mom mostly, that if you have the capability to try something, to at least give it a shot. Like, it might not work out, but it can work out, and it might lead to something very interesting and like very good. Like you never know where you end up.
Indeed.
Yeah, in my case, it would be like seek for improvement. So try to do things in the best quality you can in that moment, and later you will see, okay, I can be better in this way, and then you can improve. But it would be improve respect to yourself, like not focusing in other people's works, like try to be better yourself. And at some point you will get a very nice outcomes that probably nobody else has got. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I guess we don't have much time, so maybe I can conclude our talk to give a big congratulations to all the women out there, all the mothers, and I wanted to say that we see you and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to us, and see you next time.